Three former University of Pennsylvania swimmers have filed a lawsuit seeking to expunge the women's swimming records set by transgender athlete Leah Thomas. And UPenn, Harvard, the NCAA, and the Ivy League Council of Presidents, alleging their experiences competing alongside Thomas during the 2021-22 season were traumatizing and violated federal law. The lawsuit accuses officials of breaching Title IX by allowing Thomas to compete against women and use their locker room, calling it an illegal social experiment. It also claims athletes faced emotional trauma, privacy violations, and pressure to remain silent, including being invited to a session titled Trans 101. Though Thomas is not named as a defendant, the swimmers are demanding official acknowledgement that the NCAA Division I champion was ineligible to compete. The case stands to reignite debates over fairness and inclusion in women's sports across the country.
For one local track and field coach here in Oregon, who says he was essentially let go from his job for speaking out on the issue last summer.
The politically correct thing to do is to protect all the athletes, not just a small sliver that feel like that they should have a right to compete against girls.
John Parks says by taking a stand for his female athletes by writing a letter to the OSAA before last year's state track meet, he's been unfairly singled out.
In doing so, I've paid a price because I applied for some jobs and didn't even get an interview. People made me too hot to touch and think that somehow I'm an evil, bad person for standing up for girls' sports.
Parks, who still coaches about 36 athletes through his nonprofit Ultimate Speed Athletics USA, says he's always been an advocate of trans rights.
That's all I was calling for, and that I want transgender athletes and individuals to have the opportunity to compete, be part of the high school athletics. I think it's valuable for them, but it's also not fair to the natural-born females that they have to compete in that situation because there's just an inherent advantage that has been defined.
Whose legal case with the district is still ongoing, says he hopes in some ways keeping men out of women's sports will bring the impact he hoped to initially make last year.
I think in the end it will be all for the good, and I will just have played a small role in that happening.
A New York Times Ipsos poll from January found 79% of Americans do not believe transgender athletes should be allowed to compete in women's sports.